Alrighty, so this is our donor battery module for the repair that we're doing here. This came out of a similarly degraded first generation Nissan Leaf pack. If you've seen the video that we did on the 62 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf battery swap, that's actually the battery that this particular module came out of. And that was, again, another 6-bar capacity battery, so similarly degraded to the one that we're repairing here, so it makes for a pretty nice match to go in here. If you'll remember correctly, our cell voltages on all the rest of the cells in the pack, besides our bad one, were at about 4.02. So we're going to charge this module up to that level, and I'll give you a little peek at what it's at now. It's not too far off. Not sure if you guys will be able to see that or not. But right now, across both cells, we're at 7.71. So we don't have to charge it up very much. We're just going to add a little bit of power to it to get it up to the same level as the rest of them, so that everything's well balanced when we put it back in the car. So what I'm going to do here is I've got my power supply, and it's already preset to 8.04. Of course, if you divide that by 2, you get 4.02. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn our amps all the way down here. And we're going to connect our power leads here. So, get our negative on here. I have to get a little bit creative with the mounting here, since there we go, that's nice and secure. There you go, and you can see it's actually registering the voltage that's currently in the module. And now we're just going to slowly ramp the amperage up. Looks like that's where it's going to max out at. I might actually increase the voltage a little bit so that it can actually put in a little bit more amperage, so that we can get this charged up a little bit faster. But this is something we want to keep an eye on. We don't want to leave it unattended. We'll keep an eye on it the whole time it's charging, and you know, every once in a while I'm going to disconnect it, let it sit for a little bit and kind of equalize, check the voltage again. We obviously don't want to overcharge it. But these cells are safe to charge it up to 4.2 volts per cell. So even if we did charge it too far beyond our target voltage, we can always bleed a little bit off with a pre-charge resistor or something. So anyway, we're going to let that go, and we'll see what happens. Alrighty, we're back at it again here with the module. We let this thing charge up yesterday, and I got it up to the level where I wanted it to be. It was at 4.0, just a hair over 4.02 volts per cell on here, or in other words, about 8.04, 8.05 across both cells in the module. And after I did that, that was pretty much the end of the day, so I disconnected the module and let it sit overnight. And now I came back to it this morning, checked the voltage again, and it had settled just a little bit. It was down to 4.00 volts per cell. So I reconnected it to the power supply here just to bump it up a little bit. That probably would have been close enough to just put it in the pack as is, but I want to try and get it as close as possible so the BMS doesn't have to fight with trying to get this thing balanced. But I've had this on the power supply for a little bit now this morning, and I think it's good to go. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect it and then we're gonna go ahead and start getting ready to put it in our pack over there. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna ramp down the amperage on our power supply. And we're gonna disconnect our connections on here. If we take our voltmeter, see we're at 4.028, 4.027, 8.05 across both. Our average cell voltage in the pack, at least according to the Leaf Spy data when we looked at it, and kind of based on the voltage measurements we were making before, is about 4.025. So we're just about spot on with this. It might settle a little bit, but we're well within the tolerance that we need to be to get this back in the pack. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Alrighty, so we've got our new module here, all charged up to match with all the rest of the cells. And then this one right here is our bad module. So we're going to go ahead and pull that off real quick. And it's worth noting that the battery modules in these first generation Leafs are different. There's two different styles of battery module in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera very well since you're a little bit far away there. But you can see we've got a negative and a positive terminal on here. And if you look at the module below it, the terminals are actually flipped around the other way. And the reason they're done like that is because of the way the bus bars are all connected. So like the one on the end here is a vertical bus bar. So it goes from this terminal to the terminal below it. So it has to go positive to negative. And then same going side to side. We're going from a negative here to a positive there, and so on. So they all have to be flipped back and forth. So we had to make sure we had the correct module to be able to replace this one. Kind of sucked to get a module all prepped and then discover the terminals are backwards. So anyway, the one we've got here is the correct module. Set the bad one aside. We've got our new module here. There's little spacers that go in between the modules. I want to try and make sure those are all lined up so it'll be easy to bolt everything back together. And they all kind of nest together. It's pretty easy to get it in there. We'll take our bolts out since we're not going to need those anymore. Clamping plate is right back on top here. Let me grab my hardware real quick. I've got a tray of hardware here. All these longer bolts go right through here to clamp the modules into place. I'm just going to get all these started real quick, and I actually have a manual for this, and I don't know if there's a specific torque value that these bolts are supposed to be tightened to. I do know that the cells are supposed to be compressed a certain amount, so if I can't find the torque value, I'll just tighten them little bit by little bit and actually measure how tall the modules are to make sure I get the correct amount of compression. Alrighty, I'll be back momentarily. Alrighty, I'm back. So these bolts all need to be torqued to 82 inch-pounds, or in other words, about 6.8 foot-pounds. going to go ahead and reattach our bus bars here. It's already sitting here ready for us. And the whole little plastic enclosure thing here for them just kind of snaps into place. There we go. I think the torque value on these is only about 49 inch-pounds or about 4 foot-pounds, so it's not very much. Alrighty, and then we just have to put in the screws that go in the middle terminals. These are just solely so that the BMS can monitor the voltages and do the balancing. They don't carry any real power. Take our little plastic cover here. It actually has a little arrow that tells you which direction it's front, which happens to be that way. Slide it around that. And the whole thing just clips right into place. Boom. Now we're ready to put this whole stack back in the rest of the battery pack. Alrighty, so as you guys saw, the battery's installed in the car now. I didn't put the plastic panels back in place because I want to check and make sure everything's going to work first. So we'll go ahead and reconnect the high voltage disconnect here. And like I said before, here in our shop, we always put these on the dash. And it goes right there under the carpet. Alright, locked in. And now we'll go and reconnect the 12-volt battery here. Okay. Well, let's see if the car starts. I expect it will. It would still start before, but it wouldn't really drive very far. It was stuck in turtle mode and it wouldn't charge or anything. But let's see what happens now. Oh, we got a dead key fob battery too. There we go. And look at that. It's got no errors. Well, maybe it's got no errors. So we do still have an orange triangle up there, but that might be because the key's not detected. I'll try and turn it off and back on again. Look at that, no errors. So it actually self-cleared. I thought maybe I'd have to get Leaf Spy out and clear the codes, but apparently not. And the car looks like the car thinks it's about 2/3 of the way charged. So we'll probably drive it around, put some miles on it, and we'll see how it performs here over the next little while. We'll put some miles on it over the next couple days and see if we get any error messages back or anything, and I'll grab a screenshot of the Leaf Spy data as well to share. Alrighty, so let's take this car for a spin and see how it drives. Haven't really driven it very much apart from just pulling it in the shop since it didn't have enough power to do anything before. So we'll take it for a little spin and make sure everything works properly on it. We might go and run by the CHAdeMO charger real quick and check to make sure it charges on CHAdeMO, and then we'll plug it into level 2 and make sure it does that too. Because the owner of this car, his original complaint was that the car wouldn't charge. Of course, when we saw with the Leaf Spy data, most of the pack was fully charged. It was just that one cell that wasn't charging. So I'm going to assume that the reason it wouldn't charge was because most of the cells were already fully charged. But it was showing, no state of charge on the dash or anything. So, it's pretty clear to see why, he had some confusion going on about that. So anyway, let's take it for a quick spin and see what's going on. Alrighty, so we've driven the car a little over 5 miles so far, and we're almost back to the shop, but I figured we'd stop by a CHAdeMO charger here real quick and make sure the car will actually charge. I'm actually filming this on my phone, so not sure how I'm going to activate that, but maybe it'll do it with the RFID even though the camera is running. So we got that unlatched. Boom, we're plugged in. Let's see if we can activate. Yeah, I might have to shut the camera off real quick. Alright, successfully activated. It says waiting for EV. The plug is locked. Oh, I'm hearing clicking. And it's charging. Let's see what it'll peak at. We got 14. Come on, is it going to go any faster? Yeah, it's starting to drop down again. I might have to put some more mileage on it or maybe charge it on level 2 or something to get the BMS to kind of recalibrate itself, because I think the cell voltages are pretty high, but it's only reporting 60%. So anyway, more experimentation. Alrighty, so I got the car back to the shop and actually plugged it into our level 2 charger here, and it actually just finished here a little bit ago, I think. So we're going to turn the car on and see what happens. See if it kind of recalibrated after doing that. Oh yeah, there we go. So now it's reporting fully charged. 38 miles with 6 bars, that sounds about right. So that's probably the way to do it. And I've actually got my dongle plugged in so that we can pull some Leaf Spy data, but I can't do that and film at the same time. So probably just do a little voiceover to go over that. Alrighty, so we've got Leaf Spy open here. And as you can see, it's reporting 86.6%. It still seems to be a little bit off, but it's much closer than it was before. The car's showing 12 bars, so I think there's still a little bit of a discrepancy there. But if we go over to our cell voltages, you can see the two all the way on the right over there. That's the module we replaced. They're just a touch lower than the rest, but they're real close, and they should be able to balance over time. Much better than what was going on before. And that's all of our other battery data. But yeah, everything looks pretty good here. We're actually going to have somebody drive it home tonight and bring it back again tomorrow morning and just put a little bit of mileage on it and allow the car to kind of... Alrighty, well, the Leaf is done. We've put probably about 15 or 20 miles on it, driving it around, and charged it up a couple different times to make sure everything's working normally. The car's got no error messages, and everything seems to have been calibrated, just putting some miles on it. But yeah, it shows full bars when it's all the way charged. Shows close to 40 miles of range, which might be a little bit optimistic for a 6-bar battery, but maybe in the realm of possibility at low speeds. But yeah, this car should make for a pretty reliable little short-range, runabout commuter car. And it'll be going back up to the LA area here in a couple days whenever the customer gets around to picking it up. So anyway, the customer that brought the car to us is actually a dealer, so I'm sure this car will be going up for sale on the lot, and hopefully it finds a good home.